All right. And we are live. A win is a win is a win is a win is a win. And I know I just tweeted that out, but I just had to say it because that's exactly what's on my mind. 7-6. I think they ended up with 16 hits on the day. Jake, what are your thoughts on this crazy ending to I believe it was a 5-1 go ahead, and then having to go 12 innings?
Yeah, I mean, that was certainly probably their ugliest win of the year. That was a rough one. It was pretty maddening for sure. It was because I felt like when we're going into the sixth, and looked like Gilbert was probably going to get a quality start, which was nice. His first one would have been his first one since opening day, and then he just kind of melts down. And then they kind of get a little bit of a lead again, and then Spire lets up a couple runs, and it's just like it was just one of those things too where although the offense was like competent and like in general, the problem is when they were getting the hits, it wasn't when they needed it the most. They were not getting all of those hits with runners in scoring position or, several times with the bases loaded. And it was one of those just maddening games where you're like, they are hitting the Rangers pitching right now, but they are just not getting the hits when they needed to, or it would be a big situation, and then it would be like Polo coming up and Randy coming up with one or two outs, and then Randy hit into two double plays. Both of them, I feel like, if I remember right, were in clutch situations, especially late in the game. And yeah, it was just like I said, very ugly win. But I'm not going to be the one to say like I wish they lost that game. I'll still take a win, especially against a division rival, regardless. It's a little frustrating that we don't know who the Rangers are pitching the next 2 days, so I can't
Yeah.
really say how I feel about the rest of the series because I don't really know. Because if they're pitching DeGrom, then I would assume, then I'm just gonna be like, well, I hope they get a series win. So, yeah, but interesting game.
Yeah, I am hoping that they come out with that at least sometime during this live stream, so we can kind of break down what the next or what the rest of the series looks like. Because usually, that's one of the things we like to do on Friday night is break down the rest of the series and just kind of dissect everything that went on tonight and everything. But you hit the nail on the head with it's a tale as old as time as far as clutch hitting, runners in scoring position. And I know Luke Arkins actually he was harping on this. And I wanted to say something, but I was like, you know what? I respect Luke way too much to just like get in a Twitter battle with anybody. He mentioned something about runners in scoring position and batting averages. Like your batting average and runners in scoring position shouldn't matter. And I was like, well, I got something to say about that. And maybe it's not batting average, but it is a clutch factor that I think the Mariners have just always kind of struggled with. Just being able to manufacture runs might be the best way to just kind of sum that all up. Even though you're able to move the guys over, the hit that you need to happen with a runner on second or runner in scoring position, it just doesn't happen. Or when there's a runner on third and you got less than two outs, you have to find the outfield somehow. You got to find the outfield, or just get that clutch hit. But yeah, you hit the nail on the head there with the clutch hitting, the runners in scoring position. I've been a big fan of just looking at that and just saying, all right, like that is an area of opportunity. As most managers or people in leadership might tell you, it's an area of opportunity for you.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. 16 hits and had to go into 12 innings. Also, Brady Farkas made a really good comment. This one really does rely back on pitching. You got to keep a 5-1 lead. As someone who pitched and coached in college for pitchers, you got to keep a 5-1 lead, and you got to be able to bring that home, even if it's 5-4, and you close the game out. But you got to find a way to get that one done. Yeah, Jake. Any other thoughts? I know you got a small amount of time with us, but I can't thank you
Yeah.
enough for being on here. Any other
Of
thoughts from
course.
tonight? Rest of the series, even though we don't. Let's say it is DeGrom going this weekend. What are the thoughts kind of going into the rest of the weekend?
Yeah, I guess this is like last take time. Unfortunately, I'm on my lunch break at work and assumed the game was going to be over sooner than it
I
was,
know,
so I'd have
right?
a bit more time. But It is what it is. Um, yeah, I think uh at the end of the day, every 3 game series, I'm hoping for a series win. I'm usually never thinking like it's a must series sweep type deal. I mean, that's really only against like teams like the White Sox and just kind of like you're really just terrible teams. So I'm fine with a series win regardless. I'm pretty sure that would give us. I don't know if that would give us the head to head for the season, but you know, regardless, you just need to keep stacking series wins on top of each other. And yeah, like you said with the pitching, I think that was kind of the biggest downside today is just the pitching's got to be better, especially against a Rangers lineup that has really been struggling pretty much all year. I feel like the Mariners are a team where if they get 5 runs on the board, uh, they like it's at that point on the pitching to save the day and get it done. And I guess to an extent, at the end of the day, they kind of did. Regardless, I mean, Legumina, shout out to him. I think he went 2 innings. Bizardo going 2 innings and extra innings, mind you, and only gave up the one. So it's just, you know, I have to shout out those guys, and then of course Miles Mastroboni. I will admit I had a tweet kind of drafted up that I almost sent when they pinch hit for Williamson for him because I was like it's basically being like, wow, yeah, putting Mastrobuoni in a late game for 2-4 or 2 for 4 Williamson, masterful gambit, Dan, and he ends up having, he ends up being like the dog who wins us the game. So I'll eat my words there, and it is what it is. I didn't send the tweet, so that's good. Um, um, so yeah, I think at the end of the day, it was really nice to see at the very end of it. This felt like the whole time a game that they should have lost and almost deserved to lose in a way. And the fact that a guy coming off the bench and 2 relievers who are not your high leverage guys are the ones to pretty much seal the deal for the most part. Legumina, I guess, didn't seal the deal necessarily, but he pitched really well. Um, it's really nice to see that, and hopefully you can turn it into a series win and keep stacking those. And I think you'll be good because hopefully eventually the Astros will start losing some games. We'll see.
Eventually,
So
yeah, we say
yeah,
that, and then they beat the Cubs tonight. And it's insane what's kind of going on with the Astros, and they're just every day they're grabbing a W and everything, and
yeah,
it's just like why the Astros? Why are we
of
so
course.
kind to them, dear baseball
Nothing ever
gods?
happens bad. Nothing
Yeah,
ever bad happens to them.
nope. Nope, never. I actually did want to pull up, and also before I get to the next point, shout out to the bullpen tonight. That was awesome. I know the bullpen's been kind of one of the things where we can tend to upgrade going through the year, but I did want to pull up something that our friend Moonlight, which he did share, he did change his name to try and shake things up. He pulled this
Yep.
up, which I did want to just kind of touch on. We have everybody but Bryce Miller back in our starting pitching rotation, and we are ranked 29th. And our bullpen is ranked 20th. Our pitching, it is crazy. It is fallen on its head. It's an area of opportunity. And I'll say it again. It's an area of opportunity for us to really grow and move forward. Does that mean I need or I'm looking for a major pitcher to be traded or starting pitcher to be traded? No, but the guys that we do have, George Kirby, they need to step up. And I get it. He had a 14 strikeout game against the Angels, and yeah, it was just one of those things where I was like, hey, don't be, I mean, be excited, but it's just we need to see consistency out of that. We need to see consistency out of Luis Castillo, which we all kind of thought at the beginning of this year. It's like, okay, we're probably going to get a 4 ERA out of Luis Castillo, and he's on pace to kind of finish the year in that realm, which is really good. I mean, our staff is still plugging along and still keeping us in games. They're also taking us out of games like you kind of saw tonight. So area of opportunity, wanted to kind of shout that out. Also, Moonlight has been on the Friday Night Live a handful of times, so I also wanted to give him a shout out. If you're not following him, definitely do that already. But yeah, no, I think the rest of this series, it's not a must win series, right? It's not the Chicago White Sox like you mentioned, but it's an in division rival. And it's one that you can capitalize and start chipping away. You look at these next 10 games, and you should probably win 6 to 7 of them. We got the Pirates coming up as well. It's like, all right, we gotta find a way to. Yeah, I know, right? We hope so, and then we probably face. I haven't looked it up, so tell me if I'm wrong. But Paul Skeens is probably gonna have to get. We're gonna have to face him. But yeah,
I'm gonna have to get going, unfortunately.
yes,
Sorry, I
no,
had
thank
just
you
a hard
so
cut off
much.
with my break. So.
Absolutely. No,
But I appreciate
Jake,
you having
take
me
it easy,
on,
brother.
and yeah, good win, and let's do it again tomorrow. Just not 12 innings.
Go M's, baby.
See ya.
All right, peace. Wanted to kind of dissect and just, take a second. Wanted to give a shout out. Last weekend we had an Elysian beer. This weekend we got another Elysian beer. The Space Dust IPA. It is good. I've had it before tonight. I am a fan of Elysian. They are good. But yeah, this one's for everybody watching. A win is a win is a win is a win. And we'll just that's how we will commemorate tonight. Should have been one in 9 innings, but we had to go 12. We had to use up a little bit more of our bullpen, and kind of just hoping that we can maybe work through a couple things tomorrow. Want to kind of see who we got going on, right? Like for the rest of this weekend, we got Brian Wu tomorrow, who has absolutely every possibility to give us that extension of innings to help our bullpen back out. 17 games in a row. It's just tough. It's tough to kind of work through as many games or as many pitchers as you got to use and everything. But Brian Wu going tomorrow. Luis Castillo going on Sunday. Do I expect him to give us 6 or 7 innings? No, I don't. And he's got a 3.69 ERA. I stand corrected. He is not on pace for a 4 ERA. My gut feeling is telling me at the end of this year he'll probably end up right around a 4, which is still good. It's still good. It's not taken away from Luis Castillo, but it's not elite like he once was. It's not sub 3 ERA like he once was. And then, Brian Wu has kind of the best opportunity to kind of help us out. And of course, he's going tomorrow, which, lines up fairly well. Hopefully, we can get 7 innings out of him. And we only have to use 2 innings of our bullpen and help set us up for a little bit of success and just kind of get us into a better spot going into the next couple of series. You got the Royals and then you got the Pirates. And with the Royals, the Royals are very Minnesota Twins-esque. They have some great players. They got Bobby Witt. They have Noah Cameron, who we'll probably have to see on the back half of that. I believe he pitched tonight, so you'll probably end up seeing him on Wednesday. We got series that are coming up that are winnable. You just got to capitalize on them. You got to find a way to get the W. And yes, I did want to mention I'm rocking Seattle Kraken tonight as well. We had the NHL draft. Shout out Jake O'Brien for getting drafted 8th overall by the Seattle Mariners. For those of you that are hockey fans out there, Seattle Kraken are on the move. Jason Botterill has got them moving in the right direction. He's making trades. He's wheeling and dealing, snapping necks and cashing checks. We'll see kind of what this next season kind of rolls out, but it's going to be different. If you want my take on a couple things right there, I'll take a second to talk about Seattle Kraken. Philip Grubauer, the first jersey I ever bought for Seattle Kraken. I think it's time to utilize his buyout situation and just kind of let him go be him. Going to be paying $5 million versus the cap space and some money. Sorry, I wanted to take a second to just talk about Seattle Kraken just because it was NHL tonight or NHL draft tonight, and they're moving in the right direction. I like what Botterill's doing. He's freeing up some cap space and kind of setting the boys straight. So if you don't watch Seattle Kraken and you are, there we go. It was going to happen at least once tonight. This brings us back. Perfect. But yeah, kind of moving forward into the rest of the series. I don't know if we're going to have any more guests tonight. I know we had a couple last night. We did have a couple say that they might join, but we'll probably wrap this one up fairly quick tonight. Thank you guys again for joining and listening. We do have a pretty cool little giveaway going on. If you haven't seen on Twitter, we do have this bad boy right here that we are giving away. All you got to do, really, all you got to do is just subscribe to us on YouTube. We're still new to the community. We're still trying to grow. No, we don't make any money off of this. I do this because it's a lot of fun, and we honestly just love talking baseball. But we do have a Julio Rodriguez card to give away. And it's a pretty decent little card, 286 out of 299. And it is it's a Topps Chrome card. Not bad. So if you want to be in the running for this card, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel and then just send me a DM on Twitter. If you don't have Twitter, just shoot me a message on one of our platforms. We're on pretty much every platform, but just shoot us a message saying, "Hey, we're following you on YouTube," and you don't even have to like our stuff. You could just say, "Hey, we're following you on YouTube." That way, I can at least take note. Hey, you've gotten there, and then we're gonna do at the end as soon as we finally hit our goal of 200, which I believe we're at 132 now. So we got 68 more to go. It was 69 earlier today. Nice, and so yeah, we're moving towards that. What we're gonna do at the end of that is have a drawing. Probably gonna make it like kind of a fun drawing. Where we're having maybe like duck races or something where everybody's got a different name and having a kind of a race to find out who wins the card and everything. But yeah, we actually do have another guest. Let's do it. We're bringing in Nate from Mariners Down Under. What's going on, brother?
Mate, it's a sunny day here today. It's bloody winter, but it's it's a nice day. I kind of feel like I'm back in Seattle. It's good. The boys are winning. The sun's out. What else can be better?
Yeah, and actually, I never got to talk to you. How was your time in Seattle?
Oh, mate, it was insane. So I stayed at. I don't know if any of your guys that are tuning in know the Silver Cloud. It's the hotel right across from the left field gate. There's a rooftop bloody hot tub. It was, multiple beverages were sunk, and a very heavy recovery day was needed on the Friday. But insane, got to continue to further some great relationships with people, meet with some great people. It's just a beautiful place, mate. Unfortunately, the results didn't go the way that that I'd hoped for bloody $10,000. But what are you gonna do?
Man, I'm just glad you got to go out there. You got to enjoy it. Especially you got to go out there at a really good time. You got some good weather. You got to stay at a really, really great spot. Hopefully you went to maybe Sluggers or you got at least the Seattle dog. If you enjoy hot dogs, the Seattle dog is phenomenal. But I'm glad you got to make it out there. I know it wasn't the best series. I know when you were when I got to see all of your stories from being out there and everything, I was like, man, he got great time, but just the bad games, unfortunately.
Yeah, I went to Hooverville, and that was a blast. That was incredible. So, a little bit too packed for my liking. I mean, I'm 6'5". I'm a bit of a bigger operator. I like to throw my wingspan around. I think someone copped an elbow to the nose. So,
Oh,
to whoever the hell that was, my sincerest condolences for your shots. But just an awesome time. I mean, I guess, look, the way I described it to people is I love being the away fan. I love going there. I love being exclusive. You throw in being one of 50 fans, and then you pop the Australian accent onto it, and you can pretty well get whatever you want when it comes to autographs. But in T-Mobile Park, it was kind of like being around family. Like everybody wanted the exact same thing that I wanted. Everyone cheered for what I was cheering for. And let me tell you, I dressed so poorly. I dressed in t-shirt and shorts because I haven't been to Seattle in years, and every time I've come over, it's been hot. So I thought, oh yeah, it's going to be hot. It was freezing cold. I had this old bloke in the Diamond Club bringing me multiple blankets and a phone charger. So tip top service. I can't fault. We should have had him close the game. At least he delivered.
Yeah. And it's funny because we've been kind of, at least for the last 2 months, we've been terrible at home. And we've been getting all of our wins on the road and everything. So I don't know what it is. I really don't know what happened in this shift when we won the 9 straight series on the road and at home and everything. Man, it's just but hey, you got a great experience, and also you got to feel what I had 27 years of my life. Now I'm down in Arizona, so I deal with probably the weather that you're dealing with. I deal with 105 to 110 for most of the year and everything. So I'm used to the straight desert heat. But no, I'm glad you got to go out there. That was an awesome experience for probably you and everything. And yeah, and did you get a chance to watch the game tonight?
Oh, well. So it's been a little bit hard to watch lately. But today I was actually able to listen to the whole thing on the radio. So those single dad things, mate, when you don't have your kids, you've got to work flat out. So we're out today. But yeah, got to listen to the whole game. And, what a roller coaster of experiences. We get that hot start, then Seager hits that bomb early, and I'm thinking, geez, we're in for it. And then Logan starts dealing, and then as soon as he hits Haggerty's foot, you're just sort of like, oh, okay. And then that management from Dan Wilson, what do you do? I think honestly, it just showed we really are another high leverage arm short. And
Yeah.
I love Vargas. Vargas has been so underrated. But quality. I mean, you've played, you've coached at a high level. There's a difference between quality and a good player.
Yeah, and he's got ceiling is probably the best way to put it, because he looks effortless when he throws, and it's still 98 to 100. And you're like, man, I wish you could actually like try and throw it as hard as you can. It might be 105. Yeah, I love Vargas, man, but yeah, it's the high leverage situations. It's a flip of a coin. You don't know what you're going to get. And one of the guys that I actually started this whole thing with, Ty, made a really good connection with Edward Bizzardo. He talked about his splits between coming into the game with a runner inherited, where there's a runner on base, versus coming in with a clean slate and just nobody on base. And when he comes in with nobody on base, he is lights out. And sure enough, you saw that tonight. He came in 2 innings. Obviously, in extra innings, they have the runner starting on second. Both innings, he surrendered the runs and was able to collect the W plus save, which was huge. But you're right. I think we still are that high leverage arm away. And I know we have Jackson Kowar, which Brady Farkas, another guy in our community, had mentioned. We're still waiting for him to, because once you get optioned or DFA'd, you have to spend an X amount of time down in the AAA before you can actually make that move back up. Which I can't remember exactly how many days that is off the top of my head, but we can't bring up Kowar just yet, and we're sitting here with Zach Pop and Trent Thornton, and the whole time when it happened, I was like, why is Trent Thornton still here? And again, I have no disrespect for Trent Thornton. He's done a tremendous job, filling in over the last couple of years as a Mariner, as he sees fit. But is he going to help us actually get to the postseason and then beyond? Are we going to trust him with a 3-1 lead in the 7th inning when the season's on the line, or we're in the postseason? I don't know, because sometimes you might have to use him. That's how many bullpen guys you only get. So you got to use the guys that are actually helping you win games.
I'm 100% with you. Oh, that's good. Yeah.
Yeah. And again, I have nothing but respect for Trent Thornton, but you got Jackson Kowar who's chomping at the bit to get back up there, and I'm hoping that they give him the next opportunity and everything, and they kind of go back to him when his name's called, or when his due is due, and yeah. But Yeah, I guess kind of the bigger topic. I don't know how much you are in the trade game and everything, but is there any names out there that you've been seeing that are just attractive in your opinion on just coming up to this trade deadline and everything? Also, Jake from Raise the Trident was just on here probably 2 minutes, and he said,
no.
Nate, I know you just missed him. And Nate was he said Nate is allergic to joining lives when I'm present. So I had to give a shout out to Jake. And he was just on here. He had to get back to work, which I understandably, we're all three of us are dads here, so we got to make money for the family and everything. But no, yeah, wanted to kind of get back. What's your thoughts on the trade deadline, and is there anybody that you would like to see kind of become a Mariner over the next month or so?
Well, let me be one of the people on Reddit and say, let's go after, Postgames and whoever else is bloody available. But
Yeah.
Bregman was one I heard the other day. Oh, go after Breggy. Yeah, and like what? Yeah, he's going to opt out at the end of the year. But do you really think? I think the hardest thing, mate, is it's this extended playoff, isn't it? It's this extended playoff that throws that extra curveball in there of like who really is selling right now. Nathaniel Lowe was a name that was thrown out pretty early from the Nats. But you look at his numbers, and what you're buying, mate, is you're buying a pipe dream. You're buying the want of a turnaround. We don't have the luxury to wait for a turnaround. We need to start getting results now. We need guys in here that can hit, that can throw.
Dudes. We need dudes. Yeah.
We need guys. What I will say is I know there's been a lot of talk about because I listen as much as I'll throw pot shots at the other podcasts, but I do listen to a lot of them. And again, I'm so sorry I haven't been on for so long. I mean, you and I have a great relationship.
You're halfway
it's just
across
been so busy.
You are halfway across the world, my friend. You are completely okay. And thank you for joining tonight, by the way.
No, I was looking in the sky. I was trying to find some more of these B-52 bombers that you guys are sending everywhere around the world. But obviously, we must have a great relationship. We must not need some freedom.
Shit.
I think that when I listen to those guys, they talk about, would you trade Colt? Would you trade Laz? Well, we don't need to trade those guys. I think people sleep on for us those middle prospects. I've had a few of them on the podcast. Bill Knight, Josh Hood. Yeah, you look at any of they are exceptionally good. So
they're good.
Maybe there's a deal out there that we're not thinking about that's a bulk deal that we can go for. I mean, Tampa Bay, I saw a report that, and maybe it was just a bit of a laugh, that they've had discussions on, if they reach the Championship Series or the World Series, where they're going to play. I had a bit of a laugh at that one, but they're that good right now that they're off the table. They're a traditional bulk taker. I'd really be looking at Oakland right now. I think there's something to be said about they've spent money in the off season. They've secured a couple of guys long term. They appeased the fan base for that year, and I saw through it. I think purely it was just a selling point of, hey, we're moving to Sacramento. Let's sign a couple of guys. Let's appease the fan base. But now they're timing that Vegas stuff. Maybe they're after a couple of those prospects that are a little bit younger.
That's a good call.
Maybe they can do a deal. Taylor Ward is somebody who I'd love, but I think it's going to be one of those things that'll become hell or high water. I don't think the Angels will do a deal with the Mariners, not while DePoto's in charge.
You're not wrong there.
It's been... But who's really available? Man, that's the thing. I just don't know.
You make a great point, and honestly, most of us have just kind of been saying the same thing. It's really up in limbo with how many teams are still kind of in it, and it's really like, okay, so the Rockies, the Marlins, the A's. There's not too many teams that are. You could talk to the Nats. One of the guys I really like, and I don't know if he's on the table, but Kyle Finnegan, he is their closer for the Nats. He's been really good. He wouldn't have to be our closer, but if you roll him into kind of a setup role or just a high leverage guy, I think he gives you that. He's one that I really like. I don't know what it would take to necessarily get him. The Nats might be trying to sell him high just because I think his contract likability is very high. I think he still has a handful of years that he's controllable and everything. So they might be asking for Laz, right? Like they might be asking for some of those higher end prospects and stuff like that. But if not, I think you hit the nail on the head with our prospects as well. We have Brock Rodden, who's not being talked about a whole lot. We have Jared Sundstrom, who's not being talked about a whole lot, and they're both doing very well, and they're very high ceiling guys, or at least Sundstrom is a high ceiling guy. He's also 6'4", 6'5". He's got some next level power, and he's starting to do well. And he also has, I think, 19 bags on the year. So he's doing very, very well in Double-A. And we have, just these guys. Obviously, Michael Arroyo and Laz are hitting the ground running in Double-A. I think they've only been there for 3 or 4 games, and they've already got like 2 or 3 home runs apiece. And then they had another. I know. Yeah, Laz had another 475-foot bomb today, it's ridiculous, like what that guy is doing. So yeah, I think if you can try and keep Laz maybe close to the arm, because we don't have power. That's one thing our organization has never really been, I guess, very big on is power. They like bat to ball skill. Obviously Cole Emerson, Cole Young, guys like Brock Rodden, Hogan Windish, Ben Williamson, all these guys they've drafted and brought in, they are big on bat to ball skills. Jake from Raise a Trident, I think we probably get Gino back for Pete and Izzy. That's actually a good point. I know I'm doing a lot of agreeing. I'm kind of a yes man every now and then, but like when you say something so profound and so good, I gotta agree with it. And so Gino back for Pete and Izzy makes too much damn sense. Gino would come in, and probably Brandon Williamson would be the guy that you bring back down to AAA. Not necessarily that I want to bring him back down to AAA, but at least he's getting consistent playing time, and just I guess more time for him to develop on his game. Obviously he hasn't done a bad job. Ben Williamson has been fairly good over there. Defensively, he's definitely one of the better guys we got. No doubt about it. And then Sushi Dude 12 wanted to give you a shout out as well. Thank you for joining in. Quite a win as well. Yeah, no, that was definitely quite a win. And I tweeted it out earlier tonight, but a win is a win is a win is a win. It doesn't matter whether you win by an inch or a mile. A win is a win, and that's a quote from Fast and the Furious, one of my favorite movies as a kid. So I wanted to at least give that one a touch tonight and everything. But yeah, Nate, you make some great points with that. What would your thoughts be on Gino Suarez making a return to the Mariners?
Look, I think that we are a club that relies on vibes. I'm very much a vibes person. I think that it's good for the soul. It's good for the fan base. It brings good karma. So if we want to look at it in that crazy sense, obviously it's a yes. But I think this whole obsession with, let's hit for a high average. Let's just hit the bloody ball, hey? Like let's utilize what we've got. We've got some guys that can slap it around. Bring Gino in. What's the worst that can happen? I'm with you. Give Williamson some more time. Like he's been okay, but if you're contending, he's not the answer right this second. And I'm okay with Pete. Like I'm actually heading to Everett in August. So August 7, I'll be at the Aqua Sox game. And I'm excited to see Pete because I just don't know what he is, mate. Like he's too athletic to really have nutted down a position yet. I'm just not sure. So yeah, moving on from him like hurts, no doubt, but I'm okay with. Let me ask you this question because you're the pitching guy.
Yeah.
If we can't, it's going to cost an absolute king's ransom for us to go out and get a traditional high leverage arm. They're not there. They're not available. And the Dodgers and Yankees are going to outbid everybody. We have some guys, some mature age guys. I want to throw out a guy like Tyler Cleveland, a mature aged guy who's most days is rocking a 0.0 ERA down in Everett. You've got Brandon Garcia, who's being transitioned to a bullpen piece. Do we get to a point if we can't acquire? He's been good. He's been real good.
He's been up. I didn't realize he's up to 99 and he is nasty. I always thought he was 94, 96. He just proved me wrong. He's up to 99. I just saw that yesterday. I was flabbergasted is the best way I can describe that one.
Yeah, he's insane. When do we get to the point where we just go, right, we weren't able to acquire that A+ piece? Do we just take a roll on some of these young guys? Because I guess, I mean, when I had Cleve on, I mean, age is definitely a thing that works in his favor with the maturity. Part of me is just like, what's the worst that can happen? You send him up, he sinks or swims. He's a submarine arm too, so it gives you a bit of a different look, which not too many people have. Is that worth it, or is that me trying to rush a prospect for the sake of rushing a prospect?
No, and I've always been on with pitchers. It's easier to adapt to the next level or to the higher level, in my opinion, because baseball is an advantage to the pitcher in first and foremost. For hitters, that's always the key piece where you're like, okay, how do they adapt to the next level? For pitchers, if you took Paul Skeens out of college and never, like, if he didn't touch minor league baseball, I think he's still the same pitcher. If you're good, you're good. And not to say that there's not other elements of pitching in front of 40,000 people that wouldn't get to you. No doubt about that. Like there's other things that could take away from that. But if you just isolate the pitching and how good you are, no, I think you're good to go. I also want to do Tyler Cleveland's a great name. Like he's mid-20s. I think he's 24, 25, maybe even 20. Yeah, 25. Like that's not young, and he shouldn't be in Everett. He should be kind of working his way up. And Jerry has very, very, very much slow roasted a lot of guys. We've seen guys over the past. I know we talked about this on our podcast at the beginning of this year. Guys like Jake Shiner. He traded for him when he was like 22, never made it to the bigs, was 30 plus bombs, or I think he was like 28 to 30 bombs in AAA. Never got his due, never got a shot. And he was 28 years old. So he spent 6 years in the minor leagues and never got a shot to prove himself. Now he's overseas playing in Japan. And honestly, I wish him the absolute best. But I had another name for you, and my internet, for some reason, is just working slow. I'm hoping I can bring this one up. There's another guy in Arkansas. He has probably the best mustache in the game. Yeah, of course, my internet's not working properly anyways. But his name's Michael Hobbs. I forgot his name for a second. Michael Hobbs, best mustache in the game. He's got the Raleigh fingers, roll him up type mustache. Not going to blow you away with his fastball, but he is the closer. He's pitched in high leverage innings. He has that on his resume where he's able to come in the 7th, 8th, 9th innings. He's able to collect saves. But yeah, not going to blow you away with his fastball. I think he sits 92, 94, tops out at 95. I like him. We have guys in-house that deserve opportunities. I understand the financial ramifications of it. Sometimes you got to pay a guy more and then you risk losing him at the end of the year if you don't keep him on your 40-man. So there's guys in house that I am all in favor for. And you got to, it definitely is a use it or lose it type of situation. At some point, Tyler Cleveland's going to become available to somebody else to pick up in the Rule 5. And they have a minor league Rule 5 too, where I think if he turns 26, he's able to be snatched up, even if he's not, even if he's just a minor league guy. So yeah, you're on the right track. We have guys in-house. Brandon Garcia, if you were to throw him in the major leagues, I think he wouldn't be bad. I think if you gave him a chance, and the fact that we don't have any lefties outside of Gabe Spire, and we have Taylor Saucedo, who we haven't seen up at the bigs. We have 5 starting pitchers. Sorry, 6 if you count Bryce Miller, who's out and probably won't see for the rest of the year. But if you count all 6 starting pitchers, and I guess you can count Logan Evans and Emerson Hancock, all of our starting pitchers are right-handed. We don't have a left-handed starting pitcher. We don't really have one that's coming up either, which is, the draft is another thing. We mentioned that on Friday. Or sorry, on Wednesday and everything. But yeah, well, we did have a couple comments on here. I know I'm spewing out the mouth here, but Kick Dirt Baseball, thank you again for joining in. Love your stuff. I know we never have you on. You're always invited, but you always come in with some great comments and everything. So shout out to you for being in here. And then Sushi Dude, thank you again. Ben going back down does make sense if you get the right guy. And Gino right now is the guy. I know there's some first base talk about Ryan O'Hearn out of Baltimore, and then also Josh Naylor from Arizona. If you could find some package to get Naylor and Gino. But yeah, I mean, I guess between Gino and Naylor, was there any other hitters? I know we talked about Nate Lowe. Is there any other favorites that let's say there's no rules and anybody can trade anybody regardless of position and standings. Is there anybody else that you would like to see become a Mariner in this next month?
Oh, mate, you're going to hate me because I'm going to be that fence sitter again. But I think
Do
you'll
it.
understand
Do
this.
it.
I think we need to make a decision, like as a franchise, of where we're at. Are we all in or are we not? Because there's little around the edges moves where we're moving prospects. Yeah, like we moved Aiden Smith last year for Randy. If we're moving guys like that, I don't see anybody out there who we can do a bulk package for, or a package with that being the headliner. It's going to make us substantially better as a team. If we make the decision of we're going for it, this is our year, we feel like we can reel back Houston, we feel like our pitching is going to improve, then obviously that opens up a wide world of possibilities. I personally like Naylor. I just always have. When you watch guys and just like, I don't know what it is about you, but I just like the way that
he's got passion. He's got some fire to him.
He is a fantastic player.
We don't have that.
No, we don't. We have swag. We don't have passion. So I would love to go and see him, but I think it's just up to the front office of what we're going to do. Because if Pete's going to be the headliner that's moved, I don't know. It's a bit like Harry Ford, right? What's the value? What do people see him as? What's his trajectory? Is he just another super athletic dude that you're going to figure it out with? But if the front office is all in my mind, you got to go out. You got to improve first base. How you do that, who you do it with, again, depends on who's picking up the phone. You got to do the same at third. That then shifts Rayleigh back to the outfield, and then honestly, I'm going all internal. We spoke about Tyler Cleveland. We spoke about Garcia. Bielenson is another one that's 25, 26. Give these guys a go.
Yeah.
They're at that age where if you use them, you're not burning them. You're giving them their chance. But, mate, if they're 27, 28 and still haven't got their go, I mean, you've just wasted these poor blokes' career, right?
Yeah. Oh, and Hunter Cranton was kind of my dark horse. He was a 23-year-old draft pick last year, which, Jerry's going to try and save money this year in the draft too, with having 17 point some odd million in slot value. So I know there's going to be at least a 22 or 23-year-old or a high school kid that goes way under value, or way under slot, I should say. You mentioned you were going to be on the fence, but you hit a deeper issue, which is you need to make a decision as a franchise. You need to make a decision as an organization. What is your identity? Are you going to win this year and potentially next year too? Because we seen the Texas Rangers sell out for the W just a couple years ago, and they did.
Yep.
They won it. They got the ring. And that's it. And now they're going back to fairly average or less than average, and dealing with a lot of internal stuff with, guys that are getting injured and everything. I agree. I think you need to create that identity. Get out of this. What I've been calling it for the past, 10 plus years is perpetual mediocrity. We're competitive, but we don't contend. And that's where we've kind of been at for X amount of years. And it's time to say, hey, as a franchise, we've never been to the World Series, let alone win one. Let's go do something special. And also on MLB Trade Rumors, they came out and said that the ownership is willing to spend at this deadline, which is, I guess, the first time I've actually seen it publicized like that. I know we've talked about, or it's been talked about from the ownership group that they might spend, they might do this, they might do that. Well, they actually they kind of laid the wood on the table and said, hey, we're willing to spend. Let's see what we can do. I'm wondering if I won't. What's the best way I can move forward and talk about this? I won't believe it until I see it. Is what it's going to come down to, because we've been kind of tossed around and lied to as a fan base multiple times in the last 10 years, and we've had rebuilds, or what did Jerry call it in 2019? It's a reimagining. He called it a reimagine, not a rebuild. And I was like, Jerry, it's a rebuild. Come on, man. You just sold every last piece you got. And we are looking at all these up and comers. We have a very good, we have a very good prospects. And so here's what we got. It's a rebuild, Jerry. Come on. That's what we're dealing with here. And then he re-envisioned the way he went about the draft. And he started drafting, bat first guys that were going to put the bat on the ball. And it's kind of come to fruition a little bit. We do have a good, we do have a good organization full of top prospects and everything, but we haven't seen it surface at the top level. Cal Raleigh is one of them. We've seen Cal Raleigh. We just haven't seen it from the other hitters. So I'm curious to see what that actually looks like at the MLB level. Granted, we've gotten a small sample size of Cole Young. I'm curious to see what that looks like over his career. Right now, he looks like he's going to be probably a good second baseman, but not an all-star right now. I think he'll be kind of a B tier, a B plus tier of a Whit Merrifield. Like if Whit Merrifield's an A plus, Cole Young is that kind of that B plus range. Maybe he has the potential to be a Whit Merrifield, but it's kind of what we're seeing out of a lot of our internal bats. And so, yeah, that identity needs to be created. Wanted to get to a couple comments here. Razor Trident, I know you just been blowing us up, and Jake, thank you so much for being on earlier. I think, position player, one high leverage arm, and a middle relief. Yeah, and that's pretty much it. That's really all you do need. But you do need those guys to step up when their name is called. That's the other part of it. You can't do much more, but you need them to step up when their name is called. And then Sushi Dude, again, thank you for also being in here. But Gavin, they wrote "win it all" on the whiteboard, and it's going to happen. Oh, they wrote it. They wrote it so now they can actually envision it. Okay. Yeah, I'm on board. Where's that Ted Lasso believe sign? Gonna need it to move forward with, because they sold me. They sold me. Yeah, this next month and a half, or I guess shy of, it's just the next month before the trade deadline. Once the trade deadline comes up, between now and that trade deadline, I'm excited to see what's going to happen, but I'm also a little bit terrified to see what's going to happen. Are they going to make the next step up as a franchise? And because I think if they're in a month, they need to be within a game or two of Houston. If they're 5 games back at Houston, even if they're in a spot to still get in the playoffs, it's still going to be tough, and they still have to add a lot. And I don't know if that ownership is going to actually put pen to paper if they're that far back from first place. Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry. What about the long-term money? Like, this is what I look at it. It's all good and well to say that we're acquiring at the deadline, and it's all good and well to put that statement out there. But the reality is, Logan Gilbert needs to be paid.
Yes.
The reality is that George Kirby needs to be paid or needs to be moved.
Yeah.
The reality is that Randy Arozarena is going to make, about $16 million in arbitration next season.
Yeah.
And the reality is that whoever you acquire is either a rental, which is a dead asset that you're acquiring, which is fine. I'm cool with that. But if
Yeah.
it's somebody with an extra year, are we then falling short this year and going, yep, sorry, we're actually a tight-ass franchise. You're getting moved straight away. And then what's the point of spending the prospect capital? Because if they've got club control, obviously the current team is going to ask a hell of a lot more. So then we've just burnt potential assets. So, you know, what is that money? Is that money you're carrying forward? Is that money for next season's budget as a whole? Like, what are we rocking? About 160 million. Okay, can we rock 185? If we can rock 185,
win it.
then go for it. Yeah.
And go for it. I agree. And honestly, at this point, I would say after the draft, if let's say you end up getting Cade Anderson, who's one of the top prospects in this draft, the draft is going to also just because I'm heavily invested into college baseball and that's one of my things that I love doing, and I talk a lot about college prospects because I watch the game and I dissect that as well. If you attack the draft and you get the players that you want and you've replenished the guys that you're okay with losing, then yeah, I'm okay with giving up the the prospect capital in order to sell out for the big W, in order to make the long run, especially if it's a dead asset that you bring in and you have the capability to turn him right back around and make him a Mariner for the next extension of his career. That's the next part, right? Like we brought in, I was actually just going to bring this one up. We brought in Luis Castillo, and it happened to be right after that 14-game winning streak back in 2022. And it happened to be at a very opportune time. We went into the trade deadline very much on top. And so they wanted to capitalize on that and be able to do that. If we're going in close to 500, history shows that they're not willing to make that big of a jump. But I'm hoping this year, you're right. It's time to make that jump. It's okay to make that jump. We have the number 3 overall pick. We have the number 35 pick. We have 17 point some odd $1 million, locked away that is dedicated just to the draft. And so with that, it's okay to give up maybe a piece or two. And if it has to be Johnny Farmelo or if it has to be Ty Pete, for the right person, Laz Montez or any of these other guys that are just shooting through, Colt Emerson, Michael Arroyo, any of those guys that are really popping up, it's got to be the right guy. It does have to be somebody that's going to be game changing and also has a little bit of controllability in their contract. Not quite a dead asset, but you're right. It's got to be something along those lines. And I'm okay with trading away the prospects because of where we're at going into this draft. I'd prefer to do it after the draft so you know who you got, but also, hey, if you need to strike the iron before the draft, then it's got to be what it's got to be. They also wanted to get your take on Harry Ford. Not sure if you ever got to run across him or anything in your travels or in your talks, but Harry Ford getting probably the most awkward call. Hey, we need you to come up to the bigs just in case. What are your thoughts on Harry Ford moving forward and just I guess where his situation is?
I think Harry Ford's an interesting one, isn't he? I think our view on Harry Ford in the last 6 months has changed. The moment that Cal put pen to paper, everything with Harry Ford changed. He was heir to the throne, wasn't he? But we've now got the throne filled for 6 years. So yeah. I think his timing with being a Seattle Mariner and his timing for being ready, it's just not fitting what we're needing. And he's too valuable of an asset. Now, do teams see him as a catcher? Do they see him as a valuable hitter? Where do they see him play? That's not my problem. It's Jerry's to figure out what teams see the most value out of Harry Ford. I like him. He's just too good to be a backup catcher. And we then get into the part of baseball, which is where I lean on you with your expertise of the game. Personally, I played basketball at a semi-pro level. I know how my body feels after back-to-back games. It's not great, but I'm not getting hit in the face with a baseball coming in 1,000,000 miles an hour. So I'm all for Cal having more DH days, but I'm not all for Cal being skimped just for the sake of playing somebody that's not as good as him. And that's no slight on Harry. We're talking about a platinum glover. We're talking about the home run leader. We're talking about a guy with over 3 million all-star votes.
The best guy in the game of baseball right now. You're not wrong.
Absolutely.
So it's an interesting topic because I've brought it up because you have two very, very good catchers that could potentially be. We still don't know what Harry Ford's going to give us at the major league level, but let's say he does take off and he is good. Now you have two very good catchers at the major league level. In all honesty, I would love to see Cal Raleigh, because of what he's doing right now. I would love to see Cal Raleigh give us 150 plus games. And if that means sliding him into DH or start teaching him how to play first base with, one of the best infield coaches, Perry Hill, that we have, that's been a mentor to everybody that's come through, including Gino Suarez. I'm not against moving him and letting him catch the games that maybe he needs to catch, and maybe letting Harry Ford catch against certain maybe it's a matchup situation. I know the Cubs had John Lester always throw to I'm blanking on his name, but he was the manager of the Cubs. But John Lester had his guy that he always threw to, and having those situations. But also Harry Ford he hasn't gotten a ton of opportunities in the field, but he can also DH. So splitting them back and forth, you can. Yes, David Ross. I know Ty and I actually had this conversation, and he found it out. David Ross was the catcher for John Lester, and then it was, I believe, Wilson Contreras or one of the other guys that was the kind of the everyday catcher. But Harry Ford can play second base. He is athletic enough to work with Perry Hill to figure that out. I don't expect him to do that right away. Why would you? He's a catcher. But we've seen it from Wilson Contreras, who I just mentioned. We've seen it from guys in the past. He can play the outfield if you need him to play the outfield. I think he could probably play a better outfield than Randy Arozarena. The guy can play other positions. Not necessarily wanting to go that route, but if you have to split them just between catcher and DH, now you have guys that are catching every other day, saving each other's knees. Because I also wasn't a catcher. I can't speak on that behalf, but I know that my catchers, when I was pitching, their knees were done after a doubleheader. Well, if we ever had a doubleheader, they were done. They weren't catching the next day. So you bring up a pretty good point with all that, with the catching situation. Me personally, I want to see Cal Raleigh give us 150 plus games. So if that means him catching every other day and him DHing and moving him into that role, it's not a demotion, right? It's not saying, hey, I know you're a platinum glover, but it's saying, hey, we want to see you every day, or very close to every day. So that's my thoughts on Cal Raleigh and his future. He's already, I think, 28 years old. So he's not young, and I'd like to see what his future looks like. Obviously, he's a great catcher, and he has 9 stolen bases. Are you freaking kidding me? Guy's got 9 bags from behind the dish. He's supposed to have 0. And then Jake from Razor Trident had a really good question. Wanted to get into Cal Raleigh in home run derby. So next step is getting Cal Raleigh to hit in the home run derby. Curious on your thoughts for Cal Raleigh hitting in the home run derby. We are actually doing a pretty good live stream for that, which if you're not following Jake, good chance that you're already following Jake, because Jake probably sent, he retweets my stuff and helps me out so much that you're probably following me because of Jake. But Jake's going to be holding a really cool thing for the home run derby. But Nate, what are your thoughts on Cal Raleigh in the home run derby? Does he make it? Does he win it? Does he have a chance to win it? What are your thoughts?
Oh, you're going to hate this. Everyone needs to find a piece of wood to touch right now. So the first thing I thought of was Luke Rayleigh pre-game against the Angels. And I thought,
Okay.
my dear Lord, if this man, if this angel of a human being hurts himself in the home run derby, I'm going to need some serious support because I'm not going to cope. So my first thought was, dear Lord, please let Sir Carroll just get through this completely unscathed. I did like, apparently his dad's going to be throwing. His younger brother apparently plays select ball down in Atlanta. So he's apparently going to be catching if they can make it work. So pretty special sort of thing for the family. I don't mind it. What do you get? 3 minutes. You get a 45-second timeout. Cal's slimmed down. He's fitter. His timing of the ball, like I think he has made something out of a lot of nothing pitches just purely because of his timing. He's obviously got that big boy strength. That lander's going to be warmer. The ball's going to travel further. I mean, if he paces himself and doesn't try and gas himself out, I think he can just plod his way through this. And I think you get a lot of other guys out there that try and hit the snot out of the ball in the first round, and they end up working themselves into some trouble. Maybe that was Julio in Seattle. Maybe it wasn't. But yeah, I think Cal. I think he's going to do okay. I mean, look, he's leading the league in home runs, isn't he? Like, why wouldn't he win it? It's a competition that's pretty much set up with his name. You might as well save some time, engrave his name on the trophy, and just hand it to him.
Yeah, that's honestly that's a pretty good point there. It's crazy because I saw something and maybe somebody in the chat can help me out with this, but I saw something about you can't take your next swing until the ball has landed, and I think most of us have seen Cal Raleigh bombs. They hang. They are big hang time. But Jake did want to make a point. Nate, I wanted to throw this over your way. Need Nate and Gavin's take on the hot dog and beer Cal home run ratio for the stream. Right now, I'm thinking a beer per 5 home runs, 5 Cal home runs, and a hot dog per 7 Cal home runs. Is the ratio on par to not get plastered? I guess is the best way to put it.
It depends on what we're drinking. Somebody, when I was over there last time, handed me this thing that was called a Rainier, and that is pretty well the devil's water. So if we're doing Rainiers, I'm going to need one for the entire game. That thing was thick. It was heavy. That
It's
just
a lager,
caught,
yeah.
mate. That was shocking. That was no good. And then the lady behind the bar goes, "Oh, would you like a Foster's?" And I'm like, my dad wouldn't even clean his barbecue with Foster's. We don't drink that. No one's drunk it in about 100 years. It's, one of those things like you blokes think he rode kangaroos to school or something. But look, I mean, it depends how big the hot dog bun is too. Like if you got to think, you got to soak up those carbs, you got to soak up that alcohol. It's not bad as long as we're not drinking seltzers, because someone showed me what they were last month. Seltzers are dangerous, mate. I'm not sure what they are, but they are dangerous.
They creep up on you. They're dangerous for sure. They creep up on you, and they just taste like they just like seltzer water. But and I guess a question for you. First of all, I played with one of my buddies from Perth, and he mentioned, because I was like, "Oh, do you drink Foster's?" Just because he was from Australia, and he was like, "What the fuck is Foster's?" Sorry for cursing, but that's Friday night. But yeah, he said the same thing about Foster's, which I thought was pretty funny. So we don't bring up Foster's with anybody that I've met from Australia ever since. But I do have to ask, do you guys have craft beer? Is craft beer a thing for you guys out there? Because I know, in Seattle, craft beer, that's what I guess grew up in the manhood with was drinking IPAs, drinking the stouts, drinking the heavier beers, but they were sippers, right? Like they're ones like right now I have an Elysian Space Dust IPA, which is a Seattle beer, by the way. But just curious, is craft beer a thing out there? Do you have kind of your lighter blondes?
Oh, look, it depends on where you live. Like where I am, mate, if you've got a craft beer in your hand, we're probably going to gang bash you. That's not a thing that's okay in our part of the world. That's get a real man's drink. But if you're down in Melbourne and whatnot, you'll probably find more people partaking in that than anything else. personally, I'm trying to focus a little bit more on my fitness. So I just heard you open one them, and I guess this is what drug addicts would call the itch, wouldn't they? Like it's got me craving one because it's Saturday afternoon here and it's a beautiful day. But what would we? There's not really anything that you guys have that's similar to what we would drink mainstream. But I mean, you can get any sort of IPA, any sort of craft beer. I guess you just got to be looking for it.
To be honest, I didn't know what the fancy was over there. And I mean, to me, a real man's drink is the one that you can't chug. And I'll be honest, because I'm drinking. I also have a Coors Light here, which you can chug. But man, do they get you fat super quick. But I guess that's just America for you. Everything we can put fat into, we do. And so you gotta watch your carbs, or just get into the gym just as heavy. But you're not wrong. We just it is different. But yeah, growing up in the Northwest, craft beer is just one of those things. But so you're saying Melbourne is the place you got to go for kind of that scene, or kind of that space of good craft beer, then, huh?
Yeah, you gotta go country. I mean, you probably won't even find it on tap here. It's just not a big mover. I mean, you can find it at the bottle shops and that, but it's each to their own. I mean, we've all got acquired taste. I mean, I can't stand wine, yet wine is one of the biggest industries in the world. So, I mean, who am I to be out here throwing pot shots?
No, hey, listen, we all got different. That's the thing, is we're all different, but we all got different tastes. It took me so long to get accustomed to wine. Because I was I was like, oh, it's so bitter, it makes my mouth dry, I don't like it. And then just I guess the more I tried it, and the more I tried in different spots, I was like, all right, this one's good, this one's terrible. By no means am I a wine snob, but I am better into wine than I was in my 20s. And it's all right. But I do want to get back to your point. You were talking about in-house guys that could potentially come up. Ty had a really good point. One of the guys that Ty and I had talked about, Adam Seminaris. He's another 25, 26-year-old left-handed pitcher, not going to blow up the radar gun. I think he sits low 90s, 90 to 92, topping out 93, 94. Has not given up a single home run in his 58 innings pitched in Double-A Arkansas. So another guy that is a left-handed pitcher, not being talked about. Also one of those guys where if you don't figure it out with him soon enough, man, we're going to let him get 28 and never have a major league appearance. And it's ridiculous that Jerry just slow roasts these guys that are doing well. I've never understood some of the guys that he just lets kind of waste away in Double-A and Triple-A. But yeah, I wanted to bring up Adam Seminaris because we were talking earlier about that. Also, another trade potential. I believe he said Yaz. It was the Yaz trade. Let me go up in the chat here really quick. Oh, I just missed it. It was the Yaz trade. Dang, I can't find it. Oh, there it is. What about this? Yaz and Cash for Garver and Rayleigh, but you're calling up Ford. So basically, you're replacing Mike Yastrzemski and getting a little bit of cash back to kind of cover the Garver, but you're losing Garver and you're losing Rayleigh. You're calling up Ford. Top of the dome, I think I like where Rayleigh's at. I like Rayleigh a lot. That one's it's tough because you're getting some cash back, but also Garver's. Rayleigh's club control.
Rayleigh's club control. It's too valuable, mate. That's worth it on its own. That's worth $10 million a year.
Yeah, and I'll pull up. Look, I know I'm not sure if you can see this, but I'll pull this up for everyone else to see. I got Yastrzemski's stats here from this year. Right now, he's slashing 247, 344, 393, OPS of 737, OPS plus 112. So he's in a good spot. 7 bombs on the year, 27 RBI, 5 bags. He's not bad. He's not bad. I just don't know if he's necessarily the guy I would just give away Rayleigh for because of, like you said, Rayleigh's club control, but also how much we're paying Rayleigh to basically give you what Yastrzemski's giving you, and Yastrzemski's 34. There's a lot of cons that come with that. I don't dislike Yastrzemski is where I'll agree with you on why we would target him. I like Yastrzemski, but I like Rayleigh. I like his club control. I like that we're paying him less than $5 million, and that we probably will continue to pay him less than $5 million until we strike a deal or until the end of his his arbitration and everything. But yeah, it's also Harry Ford. Harry Ford's that one we just don't know how he's going to compete. And is he actually going to help us this year? If Garver actually does go down and Harry Ford's hitting well for the next 2 weeks, what does that look like? Are we getting rid of Garver now? Is there a trade option? And if there is a trade option, are we just gonna have to eat his money? Hey, we'll pay the rest of this year for Mitch Garver. We just need you to take him because we don't have any room for him. Yeah, I guess going back to Harry Ford with you, Nate. If Harry Ford comes up, let's say Garver goes down on the IL for the 15 days, and Harry Ford comes up and he's actually a success in those 14 days. What are your thoughts on keeping Harry Ford and then finding an alternative solution for Garver?
Yeah, well, the interesting part is who's going to want Garver. He's not a bad backup catcher. It depends on the injury too. Like, if it's a broken jaw, like what's that, 8 weeks, 10 weeks? So, he's null and void for the entire season. So it hinges off that. But I don't think you can do any worse than trying Harry Ford. I feel like the fan base needs somebody to hang on to and latch onto and hold out some hope. I mean, he's been a name. We've been promised Harry Ford for forever and a day, and part of that is because he was a high school catcher that it's taken so long for him to come up. But
right.
I mean, yeah, Garver's an interesting one. I mean, we hear the White Sox are willing to pay, some of Luis Robert Jr.'s salary, and I know Lou Bob is having an atrocious year, but the tools are still there. The track record's still there. I mean, Garver's had great seasons. I like Mitch. Mitch has always been very nice to me. But I just think an expiring deal at $12 million, there's only a select number of teams that would entertain that trade would be useful for them, regardless of if you take on the money or not. And I think it's what you're getting in return, mate, is purely just salary dump. So it all relies on Harry Ford. And again, what is Harry Ford? He's been playing AAA. It's a hitter's league. It's not a true reflection of what it's going to be like at the major league level. But you know what? I guess no one probably had an idea that Babe Ruth was going to be any good either when he first stepped foot on the major league. So who are we? I'm a bloke who's mixing a wheelbarrow full of concrete in Australia right now. You're a bloke sipping IPAs. What do we know?
No, man, that's why we do this, because we enjoy doing it. We just have fun talking baseball and enjoy the game that we love and know. And honestly, I know it's more sports for you, which it's awesome to see somebody come from the basketball world into the baseball world, and just be able to give your perspective on that and everything. But yeah, I think the way to get that done with the White Sox with Luis Robert Jr., it would need to be Garver and probably covering most, if not all, of the money. And then let's take a look at our top prospects. I'll pull up the screen here, talking through our top prospects. If you had to do that, they would probably want one of your top 10s, right? Like they would want Arroyo, they would want Senja, they would want Harry Ford, they would want, well, maybe not Harry Ford, because they do have actually, I think, a couple catchers in their system that are actually pretty good. They want Felon Celestin. I don't know if they'd want Cole Young, now seeing him not quite do so well. Laz Montes might be at the top of their list, because that pretty much brings back Luis Robert Jr. But if you could package in Johnny Farmello and maybe a Teddy McGraw, since Teddy McGraw is now back and starting to do well, I'll pull up his stats for the year. In 2025, he's thrown in Everett just 6 innings, collected 7 strikeouts, 1 walk, 158 average against, and damn, he's got a super sub 1 whip with a .67. Is small sample size at 6, but still, we all know how good Teddy McGraw could be. So a deal like that, yeah, I could see that happening. I could see you packaging in a prospect or two and covering most, depending on the prospect, probably covering most of that. Garver's
But
deal, and then Harry
who's
Ford.
our new go-to trade guy? So Ty Pete is obviously that guy, and I guess
Yeah.
Michael Arroyo has been that guy for a while because it's the whole thing. The dude's 5'10". You know, it's only really Altuve that's made it work. But I tell you what, Arroyo continues to hit at every level he goes to. Arroyo is no longer my go-to of, okay, what top 10 prospect can I throw in a package? Well, I'm wondering, and Ty Pete is absolutely right. Ty Pete is still there, but you know, is it now Farmello? But I tell you what, I really like Farmello. I wouldn't want to move on from him.
Well, I'll up that with I don't have very much insider information, but this one I do actually have. One of my former players, when I was coaching back up in the Northwest, his brother is Jordan Cowan, who is the hitting coach in Everett. And he was the hitting coach in Modesto last year. He knows Michael Arroyo very well. And one of the things I got to talk to him about, I'm like, hey, like Michael Arroyo, obviously he's hitting very well in Modesto. This was at the beginning of this year, talking about last year. Arroyo had, I think, 15 plus bags, 15 plus bombs, obviously breaking the scene in a very, very positive way. And I was just like, hey, I've heard the rumor about him in the locker room. He's one of those guys he needs to be there. He's the connector. He's the guy that talks everybody up. He's the glue. And he not only confirmed that, he said, man, I just can't see this guy leaving this organization. Michael Arroyo is the guy. Between him and Laz Montez, and I think it's no brainer why you saw both of them move up together. I think those are two. I can't quite say untouchable, but those are the guys that you just don't look to trade. You want to keep those in house, and you think that they can be because Michael Arroyo could be better than Cole Young, and Cole Young becomes expendable within the next year or two. There's so many different routes that you can go with the infield right now that, we got
to start to make a call, mate, on all of this depth that we have, all of this infield depth. Like if we get Arquette or whatever the bloke's name is at Oregon State, you know, I'm not sure I'm sold on him. Again, my specialty is demeanor from my playing experience and dragging conversations out of people. Mine is not, we should trade for this or this prospect's hot. I try not to cover everything. I leave that to the experts. But I think we need to start to make a choice of backing our horses instead of hedging our bets and going, right, these are the blokes we're riding. These are the blokes we're going to take to the major league roster. We can't hold on to everyone because all we're doing is blocking people. We talk about all those 25, 26-year-olds that are getting blocked, you know, that are bullpen arms. Time to move on from some blokes, time to back your horse, and time to ride it in. And not only do you better those prospects, but you can move them for assets for the major league level. Literally everybody wins. And this draft, like they're saying, mate, Holiday, who could potentially be the number one pick, or any of the other, Jamie Arnold, any of those other guys, they would not be top 8 picks in the last 2 drafts. So it's a great draft to go under slot. It's a great draft to get quantity, and we could make some moves, restock the farm system. But to do that, you've got to decide who you're moving on from. And I think that that's got to be the next meeting that the front office has.
Yeah. And I wanted to kind of touch on the draft a little bit just because you were talking about it. That is, you know, that's one of the areas that I really kind of hone in on and everything. And there's a name in the draft that's not being talked about in the top 10. And I talked about this on Wednesday. I like Ava Arquette. I think he's good. He's played in the Northwest. He played at University of Washington last year. He transferred to Oregon State. He understands what it takes to hit in the cold. He understands how the weather works up there. There's another hitter that I like even better than him. And if you get Ava Arquette, I'd still be happy. But Wahiva Aloy, the shortstop out of Arkansas, and I get it. It's another infielder to add to the plethora of infielders that we already have. But you just talk about straight up hitter. Wahiva Aloy does that, and he's not only just the hitter, he is the full package when it comes to oh shoot, I had it. Sorry, I had a Coors Light burp. You talk about the full package when it comes to athleticism. Wahiva Aloy does that. The big difference between Wahiva Aloy and Ava Arquette is the strikeout to walk ratio. I would argue for for Wahiva Aloy that not only was he the Golden Spikes winner, but he did in the SEC, where every Friday night you're facing Liam Doyle, you're facing Cade Anderson, you're facing the other top first round. You're facing the other first rounders of the draft. He had to face Gage Wood. He had to face Cade Anderson. He had to face Liam Doyle. Trying to think about it. He had to face Zach, or not, didn't have to face Zach Root and Gage Wood. They're on his team. He had to face other SEC pitchers. Whereas, Oregon State didn't have a conference this year. They did play some good competition. They did play Xavier, who's not a bad, they had some really good competition. And I like Ava Arquette, but it's just, I think Wahiva Aloy is that much better, in all honesty. Again, if you were to draft Ava Arquette, I'm not mad. I'm not mad at all. I'd like to see where he goes. He's a 6'5" shortstop that can bang bombs. Wahiva Aloy is 6'1", 6'2". He's not super tall, but the guy can play shortstop. If you move him to third, it also makes sense. He can steal bags. He can move left and right. He has a cannon of an arm. There's just not a tool that's really that far off from being major league ready. I think he is the most major league ready. So Wahiva Aloy is my favorite. I don't think Jerry takes him. I say all that to say I don't think Jerry takes a chance on Wahiva Aloy because of certain things. He doesn't like college bats ever since Kyle Lewis. Or sorry, I take that back, because the next year he took Evan White. So ever since Evan White and Kyle Lewis, he doesn't really go for first round college bats. Just not his game. Especially since they've rebuilt or reimagined in 2019 and they went the high school route. They really do like high school guys. JoJo Purvis has been kind of the name that they've been talking about at number 3 that aligns with Cole Emerson, Cole Young, high bat to ball, has the chance for power, but it's not quite there yet. Ethan Holiday, as much as everybody's kind of put him at the number 1, there's a chance he falls. I've seen a couple more mock drafts from guys that I respect in the industry. Joe Doyle put it was Seth Hernandez was number 1, I believe, on his latest mock draft. No, sorry, Seth Hernandez was ours. Jamie Arnold went number 1, and then Cade Anderson number 2. So it's tough for me to say where they'll land. Actually, it's not tough. I have an idea. There's probably like 4 guys that I think they could take. I think if Cade Anderson falls, it's a no-brainer. They take Cade Anderson. I think Liam Doyle is another guy they should take. And I've heard some links between the Mariners and Liam Doyle. What's crazy to me, and I said this on Wednesday, and I'll say it again, the Mariners under Tony Vitello, who is the head coach at University of Tennessee. And if you're unfamiliar with University of Tennessee baseball, they are in your face, F you, gonna talk shit baseball. They will talk shit until you walk off the field. That is the type of baseball that they bring to the table. Jerry DiPoto is not that. He's not about that at all. So Liam Doyle coming in, it just doesn't match up with Jerry's profile. He likes more vanilla guys. He likes more guys that are more even keeled. And I get it. I like even keeled guys. I like a good demeanor on a guy, but also you have to have every now and then you have to have a guy that's going to wake up the locker room when it's time to be woken up. Jesse Winker was that guy a couple years ago. I know a lot of our fan base didn't like Jesse Winker. And some of the stuff I'm saying again from Wednesday, but I have to, because our fan base also needs to realize you need some assholes is the best way to put it. You need some assholes in the clubhouse that are going to wake some guys up when it's time to be woken up. Seminars goes tomorrow, Gavin. Hope we didn't just jinx him. No, unfortunately, when you talk baseball only on Friday nights, because when you're a dad and have a full-time job, this is when you can talk. Yeah, it's just, it is what it is. Hats off to Seminaris, whatever he does tomorrow. And hopefully he's just not another guy that they're just spinning the wheels at 25, 26 years old in Double-A. We'd like to see him get a shot. Reed Van Scoter's another guy, low 90s, left-handed arm. Would like to see him. I think he's now 26. There's just there's a lot of guys that we already have, and I can go off on a tangent on the draft and everything. If you ever want to talk draft, you let me know. I'm your guy for draft talk as well, especially Mariners related. We talked about the first 5 rounds the other night, and I'm excited for this draft. There's no Paul Skeens this draft. There's no Dylan Cruz. There's no, like last year we had Travis Bazzana from your neck of the woods, Nate. We had Travis Bazzana and Charlie Kahn go 1-2, and you kind of knew they were going to go 1-2. This year, there's at least 5 or 6 guys that wouldn't surprise you if they went number 1 in the pick. Seth Hernandez could go number 1. Kate Anderson can go to number 1. Ethan Holiday can go number 1. Jamie Arnold could surprise you and go number 1, because at one point in the year he was the number 1. So this draft is going to be very, very fun to watch, and it's going to be flip of a coin. I'm excited to see what they actually do with a number 3 pick, and then also having 4 picks in the top 100. So the draft is, we definitely dissect that more later on and everything. Ryan Sloan, he's going to be a killer. Yeah. Jake, you make a good point. Ryan Sloan's awesome. He's one guy that's also kind of an untouchable for me at the moment. It would have to be a crazy good package. It would have to involve some form of, my head always goes to Paul Skeens, but it's not Paul Skeens, because they're never going to move him, or at least they're not going to move him till the end of his arbitration. But with that in mind, I think this next month is really going to play heads and tails on what the identity of this organization goes. Nate, wanted to throw a question your way. If this ball club goes and loses, let's say the next 10 games, what does this organization do? Do they start selling? Do they become a seller? Do they become guys that are just, they're going to start getting rid of pieces and just replenish what they do have? Do they immediately become losers for the next 2 years? What's your thoughts on if this ball club can't hang it, can't hang it and bang it with this level that we got coming up?
Oh, I think it's an immediate war room meeting. I think it's ownership. I think it's front office. I think everyone goes in there, and it's a hard discussion about, right, what are we doing? Are we going for it next year? Because next year is the last year of the, I call it the next real year of arbitration. I don't think we can move on from Castillo. I don't want to see him in 2 years, with that regression. Like, his time is now, and then hopefully everyone comes back healthy. But I think it's a war room meeting. I think it's a decision of, are we going for it? Are we not? And I think ownership needs to be honest and stop bullshitting the fans. And if the answer is, yep, we're going to go for it, then we throw all our chips into the middle of the table. We trade anything but your Sloans, your Emersons, whoever we take at pick 3. Laz probably has to go on the table for that, unfortunately, but we go all in, and I don't think the fan base has a bad word to say. Or the flip side is of, hey, we want to continue to be competitive or whatnot. Okay, if that's the answer, then we need to make some moves. We need to hedge our bets for the following year. We need to make some moves of people that have got 2-3 years left on their deal. Or if it's, we've sort of missed our boat, then, I think, unfortunately, we need to have a conversation about George Kirby. That trade needs to be brought up. We need to go and get the absolute mother haul for him. We need to go and trade Randy. And we just need to gut the entire joint. But I'll tell you what, if we gut this team, fans will be within their right to have had enough. I don't think any of us are going to sit here and go, you know what, if the team goes all in for 2 or 3 years, we are happy to sit back for 10 years of mediocrity. We're happy to pay over for overpriced beers, for overpriced garlic fries, or whatever else you guys have got at the ballpark. But the expectation is that we'll do that. We'll hold up our end of the bargain, because we know that when it comes time to push that big red button, ownership is going to do it, and they're going to drop a money bag. And fans won't. If we can make a World Series, hell, if we can just make the playoffs, if we can make a championship series, the fans are going to be okay with that. But if we're going to consistently try and just put a product out there that's going to be good enough to keep people interested, that's going to be good enough to keep people on the hook, I think that's when us as fans, we start to lose interest. We stop buying jerseys, we stop going to the games, we stop buying our TV subscriptions. I mean, you guys would probably see it too on weeks where the team doesn't do well. Your podcast, my podcast, they don't do as well. It affects us all. There's not as many people in the chat, but yeah, it is time for a war room meeting, and yeah, it's either we're all in or nothing. But I'm gonna have to love you and leave you, mate. I've got to pump out this job before it gets
No,
dark.
you're
But
good.
let's do this
Nate,
again.
thank you so much. Thank you so much for jumping on the podcast. And yeah, absolutely, you're always invited. And then I know we're on two separate sides of the world and everything, but if I could ever jump on yours or whenever, you let me know, man. I have no problem reciprocating and helping you out as well.
Mate, absolutely. We'll get something going. I've got a busy next month, and then I can probably chill out. And yeah, we need to jump on each other's. And like I said, there's we spoke about it last time I was off, which was like 3 months ago. But we spoke about the gatekeeping that happens in the industry. There's none of that with us. I think you and I are hitting very different sections of the market. I think there's very much a world that we both coexist and we both succeed together. So, yeah, absolutely. Let's do that. But yeah, you enjoy the rest of your night, mate, and let's not leave it so long between chats next time.
Absolutely. Hey, cheers, brother. Have a good one, and best
Cheers,
of luck
mate.
at work there. Cheers.
Thank you. See us.
See us. It was always good having Nate. Nate's awesome, and yeah, it's been I think like 2 months since he's been back on. So it was always good to get him in, and Jake, we had him on earlier, and he's definitely in our chat blowing it up and everything. So honestly, just the Nate talked on something that I'm really big on, and Jake was one of the guys that really is the glue in our community and helped me kind of just get to where I am, which yeah, I'm still not big. I think I'll pull up the amount of people. Oh, cool. My internet isn't working on that part again. So yeah, we only have 132 subscribers on YouTube. We're not like big by any means, but Jake has been so awesome. The community that we have is awesome. And the fans and you guys that are watching and listening and doing all that stuff, it's really cool. No matter how good or bad this team is doing, you guys have helped us grow. We're all in the same boat. We're fans watching our favorite team suck ass sometimes, for lack of a better term. But yeah, it's oh cool. My AI tracking is on. There we go. Sometimes it just follows me for no reason. Jake did want to bring up, and I wanted to bring it to the table. Kumar Rocker is going tomorrow. So we got one of the starting pitchers that we can kind of lock in on. And yeah, Kumar Rocker's got a crazy story, and just the way he's kind of gone about his career. Drafted as a junior out of Vanderbilt by the Mets, turned it down, and then went back his senior year to Vanderbilt, which, if you're familiar with Vanderbilt, Tim Corbin is the head coach. He has done just an absolutely fantastic job. He is as close to Nick Saban in he's as close to Nick Saban in college baseball as you can get. He's done just a fantastic job. Obviously, the championships are nowhere near as many that that he has had, but the parity level in baseball, or just college baseball, and the parity level just to get to Omaha is difficult. And you saw it this year. There was 6 different conferences. There was Murray State, who had never been. There was Coastal Carolina that went in 2016. Shout out Anthony Marks for that 2016 win and everything. But the parity level in baseball, and for Tim Corbin to do what he's done, Kumar Rocker went back for his senior year. I guess he got shortchanged in the Mets offer. I think they found something in his arm. And they're like, it's not 12 million. It's going to be 8 million or something like that. They shortchanged him. So he went back and then ended up getting drafted by the Rangers, ended up joining fellow teammate Jake Leiter. And both of them have been kind of, for what they should have been, have been kind of disappointing, unfortunately. and would like to see them grow and be better. Just as college baseball fans, I'd like to see them be better, but we got Kumar Rocker going up against us tomorrow. I hope he lets up 10 in the first inning. But Kumar Rocker is hit or miss. It is a flip of a coin what you're going to get from Kumar Rocker tomorrow. And I can honestly say that against the Mariners, because it is a flip of a coin on what you're going to get from the Mariners. Because just yesterday we lost 10-1. The one run was just kind of, it was like, okay, like we got one run and it was late in the game. And honestly, we didn't even deserve that run. And then we see 16 hits today against a team that's just as good. The Texas Rangers are pretty much dead even with the Minnesota Twins in everything that's going on. So I'd like to see what kind of goes on and everything. New sub. Hey, the Toast, my man. Thank you so much for the sub. Thank you so much for being here. Like I was mentioning earlier, this Mariners community is awesome. And I know Jake, appreciate the kind words, Gavin. The imposter syndrome I have is crazy, but still nice to hear. Dude, there's no reason to be an imposter. You are a trendsetter, my friend. You are a person that steps on the scene and people follow. You've done a phenomenal job of what you do. You are one of the reasons I got into doing this. Ty and I have been following you since as far as we've been talking about getting into a podcast. So thank you for all the help that you've given me. You've really broken down the door for guys like myself to get into this and everything and just talk baseball. That's what I love doing. That's what I'm a fan, and I used to play. I used to coach at a very high level. If you follow me on Instagram, if you follow me personally on Twitter, you can kind of see where I was at and everything. I don't like talking myself up. It's an awkward thing to always talk about. But if you follow me, you see where I've been and see what I've done and everything. But yeah, the Toast. Thank you so much for being here. We do this every Friday night where guys just kind of hop in, hop out, and talk for however much time they got. And did want to kind of go back into another thing because if you could do me a favor, Mr. The Toast, if you could send me a screenshot on Twitter, if you have Twitter, if not, no worries, whatever platform you can send it, just so I can have it in the back of my head. Well, we are giving away a Julio Rodriguez card, and you, my friend, are now in the running. Just let me know that you're in there, just so I can have your name down and stuff like that. But as soon as we get to 200, so any help is help. As soon as we get to 200 subs, we will be giving this bad boy away. And yeah, some people might love it. Some people might hate it. Some people might be like, I don't care about baseball cards, but it's a pretty good card. It's ranked 286 out of 299 on Topps. It's a pretty good one. But yeah, we're giving that away and wanted to just wanted to kind of say thank you to everybody that hops on, that listens to us, that gives us an opportunity. We got some really cool stuff coming up. We have next week, we have Brady Farkas that's joining us on our Wednesday nights. It'll be our shows have been live lately on Wednesday nights, just because I feel like there's better engagement. I love when you guys throw us questions and I can actually try and I can try and actually attack them as they come in. If you talk to anybody that's in the scene of content creation and doing all this stuff, lives are so much easier because all I got to do after that, there's really no cutting and editing. There's just putting a pretty cool label on it and saying, "Hey, thank you for listening." But when you do a podcast and you got to speak to a camera and break it down and do all that other stuff, and then you got to throw it in post and cut it up and do all that other stuff, it just takes so much time. And it's I'm a dad and I got a full-time job outside of this. I don't have time to do all that, and I don't have time to. I don't get paid to do this, so I don't have I don't have money to pay somebody that can do all that stuff. So it makes it easier just to go live, and I love connecting with you guys live. It just makes it easier. But next Wednesday we do have Brady Farkas jumping on, and we're going to be talking probably trade deadline, a little bit of the draft, and then Thursday also on our channel If you guys don't know who Will Massa is of Overdue Sports, he is big in the college game. If you guys aren't big in the college game, here's a way to kind of understand a little bit more about college baseball. Definitely more about the draft and just players that you should know kind of going into the draft. What does that mean to the Seattle Mariners? What does that mean for us in the first 5 rounds? And I did actually cover that on Wednesday, but we're going to be covering it in depth with some professionals that are, with talking baseball with some of these bigger names. We got Toby Schulman, who is big in the college baseball scene, and then Nate Rasmussen, who is a Northwest guy, who is I can't remember off the top of my head which section he's with. I think it's on the clock baseball, but Nate Rasmussen is he was here at the draft. At the draft combine, he was able to have one-on-one conversations with these guys about to be drafted. So we got some really heavy hitters in the college baseball scene and just in the draft scene. And we're going to be breaking all that down probably on Thursday. We'll lock in a date. I'll be able to throw that on Twitter and everything. But yeah, Toast, Facebook, absolutely. You can hit up me, Gavin Height, or just, go to our Facebook page on, Up West Sports and everything. Reach out. Thank you again for all that. Yeah, it is a sweet card. In all honesty, I got it. I actually got it from a friend who works at a baseball card store, and he knew I was a Mariners fan, and he was like, "Hey, just got this bad boy. How much do you want for it?" And I was like, "Hey, man, I don't have a whole lot." He's like, "You know what? I like your podcast. Here you go." So he gave it to me, and I'm giving it out to you guys. So spread the word, because as soon as we get to 200, I am not shy about giving this thing away. I have a son that's 1 year old, and he won't be able to enjoy it anytime soon. So would love to give that away. Anyways, thank you guys so much for being here. We've been doing this thing for about an hour and 40 minutes now. We're going to go ahead and call it a night. It was a W. We'll end it on that note. A W is a W is a W is a W. And Jake, thank you again. I know I've said it probably 10 to 15 times tonight. Might be the Coors Light talking, but thank you. Thank you to everybody that was here. We have looks like 170 of you guys like listed or watching or tuning in on the different platforms that we are at. So wherever you guys are at, thank you so much. Don't forget to subscribe on YouTube. Let's get you in. Shoot me a DM with, "Hey, I subscribed." Let's get you in. We're gonna have a really cool, fun giveaway when it actually does come. When we actually do get to 200, we're gonna do probably a duck race. I know Jake had a really cool idea. When it comes to that, we could throw everybody's name on a duck and then just kind of have it, actually do like a duck race, and then the winner will be crown champion. From Gavin Heights and Up West Sports, signing off here. But hey, just remember, life's too short. Gas up your boys.